Similarly, I like that in the international version that they call it articles of news. Let's get to some articles of news. And again, and
I
I
mean,
know that those are good
technically, they are
friends.
articles of news,
Sure,
but
sure.
I
I'm
mean, have
sure
you
just
have
a
you
coincidence.
trademarked it, Richie? I mean, there's paperwork you got to go
I
through.
mean, I'm about to. I'm about to, and then serve you with a
Oh
lawsuit.
boy.
Mornings are better with a warm beverage, even for Latter-day Saints. Meet Postum, the ideal coffee alternative and proud sponsor of This Week in Mormons podcast. Spotted on the coffee aisle at Smith's Grocery or at your local nearby store. Can't locate it? No worries. Order it at postum.com. Explore delicious recipes to tailor your Postum experience. Start your day off right with Postum.
Welcome to the
Oh,
This Week
come
in
on. It's
welcome
another,
listeners
it's the
to
episode of
This
the
Week in
Cultural
Mormons.
Hall.
No,
It's
there's
a
nothing wrong with
crossover.
your audio at this
What is
time.
happening?
We
Why
are
are we
just
both talking
confused
at the same
who the
time?
host is.
What the-
Obviously, I'm the host.
Well, I've been doing it at least 4 years longer than you, so we could go there.
Oh,
Seniority.
but my brand has been around a little bit longer, hasn't it, Richie? Huh?
Leading Saints? No, it was leading LDS before.
No, I don't own Leading Saints. I
Oh, no.
own
Oh,
This Week in Mormons. So, yeah.
the weekly win for Satan? Yes. Yes, you do. You do, in fact, own that.
Hey, you know what? We all have our thing.
Sure.
Okay. I don't need your judgment.
Don't you?
Well, okay, a little bit. That's what
Yeah.
friends are for. But
yeah, for good times and bad times, because I'll be on your side forevermore. It's a
Amen.
crossover episode.
That's right.
Where we're doing this for the Cultural Hall and for This Week in Mormons.
That's right. And I'm not a regular host on This Week in Mormons, but
Sure.
it'd be fun. I thought it'd be fun to collaborate and do a simulcast, as the kids call it.
Yeah, people will hate every bit of this, right?
And they already hate my podcast, so here we go.
Sure. One thing I'd like to point out about you and about Leading Saints, great. Man, you guys always are putting out so much stuff. I'm trying to get caught up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, it's not designed for you to listen to every episode, other than for good friends like you, Richie,
No.
who you do it, man, and I appreciate it.
It's a topic-based thing, right? Oh, I want to find out about teaching the youth, and then you get into the whole youth track of stuff. But
that's right.
Yeah,
that's
I try and keep caught up, and it's nearly impossible.
We had one recently, which I was listening to the Culture Hall a few weeks back, and you were talking about the new symbol that the church is using for their chapels, like on Google Maps.
Yeah, it's called a cross, Kurt. It's
a cross,
not new.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's not
a symbol.
new.
It's a symbol.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not new, but it's new for us, right?
Sure.
And I thought I was screaming at my phone saying, Richie, you gotta listen to this episode, but you were just behind and you listened to it. And it's from all reports, you said you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very informative. Enjoyed. Let's not toss that in there. I found it going as you did for me. Why didn't I listen to this before I talked about it? But great. We'll leave a link for that in the show notes so people can check that out. This Week in Mormons, as you indicate, been around a little bit longer than the Cultural Hall, but that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. We still be friends.
I mean, it's not at all who started it.
No,
if you want
Jeff and Al.
if you want to continue to claim,
even though they're very much alive and well.
Sure,
but
sure. The brand is still longer or whatever. You're more than welcome to do that. Whereas I, with the Cultural Hall, April 6th, 2011, you can follow me on a journey through 2 wives, a child, and many other adventures. And it's just been me. You're not going to find somebody else. I didn't sell out, Jeff.
I think that's right, Jeff. Made me poor, made him rich, but hey, I got the brand. But I think it is evidence of your mental health stamina, Richie, because most people go crazy at this point, and you've just always been crazy, I guess, right?
Yeah, yes, I've been able to hide it.
Nice.
Turn it off.
You can't quit the Cultural Hall.
No.
I mean, it is part of you. And if you did, like if you came to me and said, all right, Kurt, I'm packing it in, you want this brand too, I'd be like, no, Rich, I can't be Richie.
Yeah. The T in Richie T stands for the Cultural Hall. So that's how much
it's literally your middle name.
Yeah, it's literally my middle name.
Yeah. But hey, many people appreciate it. I know they don't. More need to email you at contact@theculturehall.
Yeah.
Or what is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. It's contact@theculturalhall.com.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
And say, Richie, keep going and just keep growing this thing. So it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was super worth it. Tons of money rolling in it. Scrooge McDuck type money jumping in it.
That's right. Anything to report from your life, Richie?
Well, I'll tell you this. You, as I could tell you that we did it first, but that's fine. Always like to talk a little bit about life before we get into the news. We separated in the cultural hall in an old school way, like blocks. So you'll hear a little bell that will go, and
right.
then we switch into the actual news. In the third block of this, for us, I'm not sure that will be the case for you. You're welcome to it if you'd like.
We'll send people over your way if it's not there. So
okay. Yeah. We do a Saints Who Sport third block, talking all about the Paralympians who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and where they're from and some of their stories. A fascinating sort of look at most Paralympians not born that way, have some sort of adversity that they've overcome that came to them at a later point in their life. So that is the third block for us. As far as reporting from my life, my wife left me last night.
Wow.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. She's on vacation.
Oh, she's coming back. Okay.
Well, I mean, as I do, it's always iffy, right?
Right. I mean, some have that story, Richie, that she said she was just going on a trip.
Yep.
And I haven't seen her.
Yeah.
For years. Yeah.
But she going to visit her pops out in Florida. Her entire family does not understand how my profession works because they're like, hey, in 2 weeks, can we go to Florida? And it's like, no, in a year and 2 weeks, maybe. They went without me. And I literally, this is how last night went. I dropped her off at the airport, her and her sister, and immediately went to Harmon's, the grocer in my neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I bought myself 4 boxes of sugary cereal and a half gallon of ice cream and managed to eat almost the entire box of Trix because they are for kids.
And you felt terrible, but it was a beautiful terrible, right?
Nope, I did not feel terrible, not one bit. Not one.
So what are the other flavors you got?
I got the Reese's Puffs.
Okay, solid.
Rocking some Lucky Charms and some Fruit Loops because I followed my nose and it always knows and led me straight to Fruit Loops. So
the 80s kids know all the commercials, right?
Yeah.
They've weaved their grasp in our brains.
Yeah, no marketers didn't try to appeal just to kids. They did not. They were not just selling that to all that. So yeah, I ate nearly a bowl of that, and then immediately, because I felt not bad physically, I decided to go and clean my wife's bathroom.
Just because, or is this like a thing you do?
Well, because I felt bad, like I shouldn't just be sitting here eating the sugary cereal and living my best life. I got to punish myself too. So I cleaned the bathroom.
Nice. And so that bathroom you will not use until she gets back and finds a spotless bathroom. That's nice.
Correct.
Very good for you. You figured this marriage thing out.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes.
Sure. Yeah. It took me 2 times so far, but
hey,
that's fine. Listen,
that's mortality.
Slow learner, right?
Slow
mortality,
learner.
I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Die one time and come back to life. I didn't know you believed in reincarnation. That's interesting.
Well, we all got our thing.
So. Yeah. Tell me, new with you. This is a different studio since last time I saw. We should mention these videos available on YouTube. And if you're a Patreon saint of the Cultural Hall, patreon.com/The Cultural Hall, you get to see the video. New studio backdrop. This must be in your palatial space in Utah County.
Yes. So we're sort of midstream here. So obviously I just got these shelves installed. They will be full of all sorts of stuff that make me look smart.
Sure.
I had a couch here. It's gone. I had a bookshelf, but I'm painting this weekend.
Okay.
So this will be a whole new color. And trying to live up to the Cultural Hall standards.
Yeah.
And, So now, that's happening.
Now, if you win an LDS PMA award of which you are nominated, will it go there on the floating shelf?
You better believe it.
Yeah.
So we should mention that, Richie. We were both nominated for a LDS PMA award. Nobody knows what that is, but we can. That will not stop us from saying award-winning podcast when that does happen.
Yeah, if that does happen.
Oh, come on, you're a shoo-in, my brother.
Oh, come on now, come on. Now, what is your? Because you have to be nominated for a specific episode. Do you know what your specific episode?
So it was my interview with a man who has my same first name and my same middle name, Kurt Harold, but his last name is Brown, Kurt Brown. And he's currently serving as a mission president, was a bishop of a mid-singles ward in Provo, and was a dynamic leader. So we'll link to that. It's an awesome episode, and I think it'll happen this time. I don't know. I'm feeling that way.
Okay. So. Okay. Now, but we're not in the same category, right?
No, we got to be very clear. It says if I'm going for best actor, and Richie's going for like best screenplay. You know? So
sure.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like you're going for best purchased brand and trying to appropriate longevity, and I'm going for actual longest running. Yeah.
Whatever will get me the statue, the trophy to put on my floating shelf. I have no idea. Yeah. I have very low expectations, but yes, we will be an award-winning podcast after that. This Week in Mormon's not nominated for anything, but hey, listen, I'm working on it. All right.
Yeah.
We have some stellar content, as you know, Richie, which I hate to out you here, but you listen to most episodes of This Week in Mormons. Is that fair to say?
What is this?
Well, come on.
I've never heard of it.
You love it. And every host that is part of our Avengers team here, you love every single one of them and their opinions.
Yeah, they all give me the utmost respect and are well informed about the stories. All right,
the Twim siblings, Matt and Melissa, bless their hearts, they do such good work. They do tend to throw you under the bus a little more often. And so I say, hey, Richie, you have every right to also return the favor. But.
Yeah, I love when they verbatim will say what I said and know that they've listened to my episode. No attribution.
Okay, we here on out attribute any quote. Is that good enough?
Yeah.
Good enough.
I similarly I like that in the international version that they call it articles of news. Let's get to some articles of news. And again, and I mean
technically they are articles of news.
Sure.
I mean, have you trademarked it, Richie? I mean, there's paperwork you got to go through.
I mean, I'm about to, and then serve you with a lawsuit.
Oh boy, that'll be great. If I can get a ride to the courthouse, that would be great.
I'll pick you up. I mean,
what are friends for?
Yeah. Hey, I'm suing you. That doesn't mean I can't give you a ride.
That's right.
Yeah.
Another thing I can report on, Richie, is I had my first opportunity of presenting at BYU Education Week.
Oh, please and thank you. Tell me what you taught.
Well, I taught on themes from my book, but you're not able to, mention that you have a book or that you're a writer or that you're a podcaster. You sort of have to be this like milquetoast like brand. But nonetheless, people seem to receive the content well. But I feel like BYU Education Week is like the most undersold, most valuable like institution in our faith that just doesn't get talked enough about. But people who go, they're like, oh man. How have I been missing this? So we'll get you there one day, Richie. But.
The thing for me, I'm being honest with you, the thing for me is twofold. It's during the day and during the week.
Yes.
And so there's a certain amount of my social media that gets flooded with people being, hey, I'm at Education Week. And you don't get paid for it, correct?
No, they give a little stipend. I mean, it's nothing... It's not. That's not why anybody does it. Probably.
Yeah, no, it's not $100 billion or a part of Florida. I get it. I understand what you're saying. So you do get paid. I didn't know that.
Yes.
But it is an interesting thing to me that, like, as I see the thousands upon thousands of people who attend, doesn't people have to work? That's what I think. I look at it,
and that's why
what are we doing?
You get a gray-haired type of audience in general, right?
Sure.
However, there are some young millennials roaming around like myself. But that's the thing is it's really difficult for especially myself as a young family. Here we are, like I got to go to this campus. I want to be there all week, but hey, we got to get the kids to school, and it's really awkward time. Brand new school year, those types of things. But that's the only time that the campus is open, right? So they're their hands are tied that way. But you are completely right. But it's worth every sacrifice of being there because to me, it is what general conference should be. I mean. Let me be clear, big fan of General Conference. However, it'd be cool to have like, not only hear from our general authorities and prophets, seers, and revelators, but sort of have this other dynamic happening of like, hey, Jerry from Florida has got this great presentation about Isaiah and the Book of Mormon. Let's get him a room, and if you want to come listen, just having the community of followers come together and share. And so BYU Education Week does a great job at doing that. However, it's a very awkward time of the year.
Okay, I'll go sometime.
Okay.
I love awkward. I'll lean into it.
Yeah.
You, of course, are allowed to mention your book here. Is God
Yes.
disappointed in me? Spoiler answers yes. Find it on Amazon.
That was only your copy, Richie. I have specific copies that I send
flipped
out.
to the end, and in your handwriting and where you signed it, you wrote,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Again, be a great gag gift if I could just get one printed where it's full of just yeses, just page after page of yeses, and be like, here's your white elephant gift, right?
Expensive gag gift, but
right. But so worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
find
people
a link
should
to
check
buy
that out.
book in the show notes. Going well. Are you going to write a second one?
I definitely, there will be more books in my future. Maybe not around that topic. It was, I don't know how I do a sequel necessarily, but
I can tell you, but go ahead and find your way through it.
But yeah, I got to get it, the screenplay written and then get it to the big screen and those things. But yeah, I enjoyed the experience. I think it is a phenomenal exercise for any Latter-day Saint, any individual to not only believe in their faith, but to attempt to articulate their faith. And that was what it did for me. And yeah, it was very rewarding, even though it was grueling at times.
So. The follow-up. I don't know why you don't ever ask me, because I've always got an opinion and or the answer.
Okay. What's the follow-up?
The follow-up is called "Look!" ! I already told you he's not disappointed in you. And then you share things that you've learned since you published the first book.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely do that. So
I mean, it's self-published, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so do what you want. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, do what I want. Absolutely. Yeah. So
look! ! How many times do I have to tell you? You sort of take on that very like Heavenly Father role, right? If we consider him to be like a father, it's the father that still is very much loving, but it's just like, if I have to tell you one more time, I'm not disappointed in you, kind of thing.
I could go there out of like remember the Chicken Soup for the Soul books where it's like, is God disappointed in me for moms or, for bishops or.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. No?
No. Don't
okay. Well, it's an idea. So
don't.
Yeah.
Yep. That's my.
All right. What are we doing next, Richie?
We're going to take a break. And then when we come back in the second block, we're going to do actual articles of news. Here in the second block of the Cultural Hall, we do actual articles of news. Hit it, Peter. And if we want to do this for how This Week in Mormons does it, we go, hey, it's been 20 minutes. Let's do a news story.
That's right. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and make a transition here, and we don't have the deep budgets like the Cultural Hall. They can really make some things happen.
So if people know, and I know that he's been a contributor in letter form to This Week in Mormons, but the Pharaoh, Corey K. Ward himself, he comes on and he talks all things temples. We do episodes from time to time called the Temple Ticker, which is all about temples, tabernacles, ward houses of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He goes fairly in depth on temples, but because we're representing both audiences, let's high level hit a couple of temple things. One, the court has ruled in favor of Cody, Wyoming. Go ahead, Cody, Wyoming.
Yeah, let's Cody. Go. Start digging, right?
Let's get after it, they said. A little bit ago on a Temple Ticker episode, we have been counting down to the 200th temple dedication. And I made, not prophetic, but near, the approximation that the Deseret Peak Temple would be the 200th temple. And I was very quickly corrected, saying, no. The number and how it's announced will be Salvador, blah, blah, blah. And then a couple weeks ago, out at a stake conference, I believe, I want to say that it was Elder Anderson, maybe speaking
Good,
out there,
good
who
guess. All
said,
right.
"Hey, Deseret Peak is going to be 200." And
Boom.
I went back to the Pharaoh and I said, "Hey, this is what was said out in a state conference," and he said, "Nope, not in the order that we've got." Well, it is official now that the Deseret Peak temple that is in the Tooele Valley will be the 200th temple dedicated, and I just have to say, nailed it.
Boom. And no Moroni. Nailed it, Richie.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yes, on both fronts. But here's the deal, and you're a guy that this has changed how I look at the church, mostly for the better, sometimes for the worse. That it is not all or not always like inspiration. Sometimes it is marketing. And for them to be able to market the 200th temple dedication in the Tooele Valley, adjacent to the Salt Lake Valley, is going to be a much greater event and or news story than for them to try and control the message in Brazil.
Hmm. You think they were intentional about this, Richie?
1,000%, because it
Yeah,
wasn't
okay.
supposed to be this way.
Oh, okay. So they made some things
Originally,
happen, bumped some schedules up, said
Yep.
maybe don't put that kind of trimming on the, on the walls because we need to really get this going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean,
And
are they going to do, I think it'll just be something like in the next general conference, right? Of like, well, let's see, this is dedicated, it's dedicated
November.
in November, right? Like it'll sort of be this thing, right? We're about to dedicate our 200th temple, right?
Sure.
But other than that, I mean, just another dedication, right? I mean, of the house of the Lord.
No. I wholeheartedly disagree with what you're saying right now.
Fireworks. I mean, what are they going to do?
I mean, it will be a massive
Swag bags.
celebration. It will
Okay.
be a massive, no, not swag bags. Everyone gets a temple bag. Can you
Hey,
imagine?
and you could literally use your swag bag, temple bag for the temple.
Do people still have temple bags?
Yeah. What do you, I mean, don't you have a bag you take
I
your
do.
stuff in? Or
I do, but I don't see them marketed to folks like other things.
Oh, you have not walked into a Desert Book recently.
Yeah.
Or you're not on their email list where, there's plenty of promotion for very high-end temple bags.
Okay.
So.
So no, they're not giving away swag. No, it will be a massive celebration wherein I predict, if health is all right, President Nelson will dedicate the 200th temple. It's too we as people and we as Latter-day Saints are too like celebratory oriented to not do something like this.
Yeah. So and obviously being in Tooele, it's a short car ride for President Nelson rather than, all right, we have to fly you to Brazil or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Are you touring this temple?
I have not yet. Are you asking if I currently?
Well, no. Are you going to? Like, I got like this invitation in the mail, and it's all nice. And it says RSVP here, and
who
I don't know
that.
I know it says to the longest running Mormon news podcast.
So Jeff
producer.
forwarded it to you. Is that what happened?
No, I don't know how I got on the list. It's weird because I think every temple has their like PR team, and some, they've reached out to you, like the St. George. Like we went to that temple open house together, and so I don't know if they share lists or what, but sometimes they reach out, sometimes they don't. And this is a good example. They reached out to me, not because I'm any better than Richie, but they didn't reach out to Richie. But I'll make sure they do reach out to Richie.
Thank you very much. And yes,
because then we got to walk across to the church where they have like, refreshments for us influencer type. So.
Anything else on temples? There's obviously the complications in Vegas and McKinney, Texas. That continues.
Yes, they continue, but looks like, just court proceedings will get them through this, and we'll build those temples, and they will like it. So.
Now, let me ask you, because you sort of toe a different line than I do. You're a little bit more
go ahead, say it, Richie.
A little bit more like color in the lines. Most of this opposition is to communities saying, "Come on, you can have that there, but does it have to be 200 and some change? Does it have to be blankety blank square feet?" So my immediate response is like, missing the point, everybody within the church. Let's just build a building that the community is happy is there. Let's take the steeple down if it needs to be taken down so that there's not like, I think I'm far more just like, I don't think that God is like 200-foot steeple. Perfect. You guys are in 190-foot steeple. You guys are out. Like, that's not it. But we fight about these things like that or unite them with religious freedom and being able to do it. Where do you land on some of those things?
Let me ask you this, Richie. Have you ever been to an HOA meeting?
Sure.
Homeowners
Yeah, they're
Association,
the
right?
worst.
Yeah, they're the worst. And it brings out the worst in people as well. You get
Yes.
individuals who will get overwhelmingly, just overwhelmingly irrational about
Sure.
the simplest thing and how money's being spent, whatever. I kind of see this, and I don't hang with me here, folks,
Okay.
but I think people in these places that are putting forward their concerns, it sort of is that dynamic on a macro scale. And in a year after this, 2 years after this, nobody is going to care, even if the church gets their way. I mean, you got the temple in was it Boston, Massachusetts? There's all sorts of stuff going on. We had to call the Romneys in, we got to call the Marriott's in, like, and they got it done. And I bet people just don't care. Or even in Utah, when they were going to build the tracks lines that's been around for decades now, like all sorts of, heartache. We can't do this, and now nobody cares, and we just use it. I get what you're saying, and of course we should listen to people and do our things. But at the end of the day, I think the church knows nobody's going to care in a few years, and let's just build the temple the way that we want to praise God, and everybody will be okay. So.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the other side of the HOA thing, I'm mostly opposed to them, except that I like that they prevent like trash cars in people's front yards and
sure.
outlandish things and stuff like that. But I guess I still do wonder where it's just like, okay, it's 210 feet and you'd like it to be 170. We can take you to court and it can be a thing that you remember that we fought for 40 feet of steeple, or we could just say, we've heard you, and 40 feet of steeple, you bet we will acquiesce to your 40 feet of steeple.
Sure. And I think they have adjusted some things in the past.
Sure.
Even this Desert Peak Temple, right? It was supposed to be one area. They moved it down the road, and like, great, we'll build it here. I mean, it's just part of the process. I don't think the church should just bow to any request of the local community.
Sure.
But, and let's take it to court. Let's talk about it. Let's debate it. I don't think we're trying to just bury them in legal fees and get in our way, but some may claim that. So.
Yeah, it's not Cody, Wyoming, which is what they are doing there, but no, that's a for a different.
That's
thing.
right. That's
I'm kidding, of course. The temple ticker, though, if you want more in depth and actual with some facts, Kurt and I just sort of vamping on a lot of this
with
stuff.
some facts. That's cute.
The Saints. Have you read all 3 volumes of the Saints?
Every word. How about you?
I have not. I have completely
well worth your time.
One, and then I sort of got into some other audiobooks. I really like the audio component of Saints.
They have that available, right?
And,
the thing I like about the Saints, this series, is that it's not like like The Work and the Glory. Did you ever read that? Which sort of
I did not.
Historic fiction about one family kind of going through actual events, right? And so, and that's like one narrative that's going through all these books of this family and these characters that some are real, some are not, right? Where this is like, you can take one chapter, read it, I don't know, 1,000 words, and they tell sort of one story. And then they may pick up that story later on in the book, but it's just really easy to digest it and be like, oh, that's a story I didn't know. That's cool, And so, yeah, I recommend it.
And that they're true.
Yeah, they are. It's crazy the lengths they go to make sure that it's true. They're not like adding flowery words or, oh, it'd be good if it rained this day. No, if it didn't rain that day, we're not saying it rained that day. So,
yeah. Volume 4 out by Halloween. It will be. It's at the presses now. This, of course, let known at Education Week. One of the sessions was about how they write the stories and how they make it accurate and why they do it, and the literal teams and teams of people that pour into leading, or I'm not leading saints, that pour into this whole thing. Interesting also to note that it will go up until the year 2020.
Yeah, so this is the last volume, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
For
And then
now,
for now, maybe in another 20 years, they'll talk about the boom of the LDS podcasting that
could be.
hit, and
Yep.
they'll tell your story, Richie.
Mm-hmm.
So, mm-hmm.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. Saints Volume 4. People can get the hardback. Most people will just read it. You can get it in the app, which I think is cool. A great sort of family home evening thing if that's the way that you like to do something like that, or just listen to it on a road trip. That's how I found my way through the Volume 1. And I've actually listened to Volume 1 a couple of times just because I like
Nice.
church history and I like its approach, and it feels easy. It doesn't feel like I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Let's
Yeah.
go.
And what I love about this series, my favorite part of church history, which I love, the restoration and Joseph Smith and those things, but like more contemporary church history, like learning about the church in the during World War II or these things, or the David O. McKay years. So I love learning more about that stuff. So
Other news stories, perhaps that you have anything?
I don't know. Is there more that needs to be said about the secret lives of Mormon wives that is sort of all the talk in the socials right now? I know you've touched on it a little bit. I think some of our co-hosts at This Week in Mormons have touched on it. Anything we're missing, or
I mean, it's everywhere. A
right?
couple of them showed up on a Utah kind of talk show and said, "Listen, don't judge us until you've watched the show."
Yeah,
To which
right.
everyone went, "Oh no, I'm judging you already.
No,
I will
allow
watch
me.
the show."
Yeah.
It is, from a national perspective, still just continuing to be written about and questions about, and all of the things as we count down till the 6th of September. Here in the Cultural Hall, we're having an all-night slumber party. There will be
At your house, Richie, or where are you doing this?
no, virtual. You get to do it at your
Oh,
own
I gotcha,
house.
gotcha.
But we are going to do the night midnight of the 6th, so that's technically the morning of the 6th. We will start watching the episodes, and with various co-hosts, not those that are regular, I will visit with people who used to be members of the church and current members of the church, and various folks, and we will record throughout the night an episode for each of the episodes of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and that is
Nice.
6 episodes in the middle of the night, and they'll come out as soon as they're done.
And so they're dropping the full season all at once, or
Mhm.
there'll be more after this.
Nope,
I guess
all at once.
they'll get re-upped if it is so successful, right?
Mhm. I mean, it's a train wreck. It's going to be successful. The church has spoken out and said, this does not represent us and our faith. I don't agree with that. I think that there are aspects of this that very much represents our faith.
Yeah. Well, I think they're starting from a place of like the tenets of our faith, right? It's
Sure,
not like,
sure. Yeah, we
So.
are not fans of swinging, if that's what you're sort of talking
And
about.
I know that like some of these ladies have been, been involved with swinging things, but I get the impression it's not like all of them. I think Hulu wants you to think like,
Sure.
we are taking you into the underground swinging world.
Sure.
But I don't know.
But I do think that what you'll see and play out, and what I'm interested to see about this whole series is, how we split hairs?
Mm-hmm.
I think that you're going to see a lot of hair splitting, and people will go, "Oh, I can't believe that," as they drink a dirty soda and tell people to live the word of wisdom.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm kind of curious, like what I don't know, like what I kind of wonder if it's going to have an opposite, like maybe a long-term, a positive response, understanding of the church. Because right now, I mean, you can go other places than even in our own country and say, who are Mormons or Latter-day Saints, but polygamous, right? At least we're swinging the other. I'm sorry, no pun intended.
Yeah, no, that
at least
was
we're going
that was brilliant. I thought, but he didn't mean it ever.
Yeah. At least I'll just own it. At least we're swinging the other way, and it's more of like, oh, like these people actually are a little risque. This is interesting. And then maybe we'll find a happy middle there that be like, no, actually, we're just normal people. Like, oh, cool, great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of the mind that anything can be positive. There's all these outlandish stories, and then people go, well, wait a minute. I know Kurt from growing up, and Kurt wasn't like this. and start to have a conversation and start to learn more about the gospel, and an opportunity, as people being inquisitive, to have the Spirit in their lives, things like that. I'm sure some of that. I think that there are some people, unfortunately, that will watch this and go, "Yep, crazy, just like I thought." And that's unfortunate. But I do think that anytime the church is being spoken of, to some extent, there can be positive things that are brought out of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Another quick story worth mentioning: the 2025 Come Follow Me manual is now available online.
Boom.
They are not printing them, so all y'all that like to get them on the first or second Sundays of the year, who needs a manual? Raise your hand. That's not happening.
Wow.
It will all be online.
Not even in the distribution center?
I mean, they'll be available for purchase. Is that what you're asking?
Yes. So you can go and purchase one, but they're not handing
but they're
out,
not doing that at all. They're not doing that at all. You can actually get one if you request them at no cost to the unit, but it's a whole procedure. Don't make your executive secretary go through that. Just use the
submitting
app.
receipts and
Come on.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's exciting that's out. It's Doctrine and Covenants next year, y'all. So get ready for that. Know that there will be lots of people that will say, "Oh, it feels different this year because now we own the Kirtland Temple and various things with that." And I do think that that's exciting.
Maybe some more videos will be in our curriculum. Here I am in the Kirtland Temple. Right? What's I mean, you love church history, right? I mean,
I do.
Is this your favorite year, or do you have a favorite?
Is.
I know you're not
It
supposed
is
to
my
have
favorite
it.
year.
Yeah.
No,
good.
I don't care if you're supposed to. It's not Old Testament, that's for sure. That's the year of when I go in and go, "Who? Huh? What?"
All right, let's get through this, right?
Come on. And then people are like, and then I always feel like the people that are like, "This is my favorite year." I'm like, okay. This is your favorite year. All right.
It's like this. There's so many of those like passive flexes in our community culture.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I just can't get enough of Isaiah. Like, really? Come on. You take Isaiah over like Helaman, I mean, or the war chapters. Come on, man.
Sure. Speaking of war, my wife and I never fight. We've never fought in the whole time. Shut up.
The other day when we were deep in our family scripture study. No, come on.
How boring if you never fought. Some of the funniest times that we've had, it's been fighting. Not that we fight. Not that my wife and I.
You're right.
We don't.
She did leave you, but it should be temporarily.
Says it's temporary.
One story I want to highlight here is, you remember the guy, man, what's his name? The guy that does the Johansson. He does the portraits of all missionaries who've passed away while serving a mission, which is just
JR is his first name. Is that
JR? Yeah, JR Johansson.
Yep.
79 years old from Huntsville, phenomenal city in Utah.
Little township, small outside of Ogden.
So JR is releasing a new book showcasing the dozen of missionaries he painted who have died while serving. So, man, that is something I need in my bookshelf. So I just love these, members just taking the extra stride of giving back and highlighting some people who've given the ultimate sacrifice. So
the book called These Angels Among Us. There'll be a link in the show notes for this and all the stories. You can actually, I think, pre-purchase it. But he has painted these portraits of these missionaries at no cost to the families.
Right. Yeah.
167 missionaries over the past 10 years. Talks about how he feels like it was God's calling for him in his talent, and then the way that he said, "Oh, hey, this is what I'm going to do." Doesn't take compensation for his time. The money that he makes off of things like the books are the way that he continues to be able to support himself and be able to buy the different things that he needs to be able to do these portraits. But pretty remarkable.
Yeah. You haven't interviewed him, have you?
I have not, and want to. That is definitely something that, with that news story, I have said, I definitely want to do that.
It'd be great.
Going back very quickly to the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, there was a quick story about how much they're able to make as influencers, which brings us to all the things of influencers. And here's the deal. Thousands. Influencers make thousands. If you have lots of followers and they want access to your audience, people will pay you thousands of dollars.
Yeah, so it is a full-time job. and like a full-time, I live in neighborhoods with doctors and lawyers job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of work and comes and goes and thousands of dollars. So these articles that are like, do you know how much? Thousands. They make thousands. They make a lot of money. They make a lot of money doing it. It's part of why they do it. And the dangerous sort of slope of why they do it, which is why I
Right.
think it's sometimes pretty sad. I think that sometimes people can't get out of their own way, right? You get sort of and you know people within the LDS sphere, Kurt, I know, um, whom have sort of fallen in love with the praise and the
Mhm.
accolades of, oh my gosh, you're this, you're this, you're this. And then they become something that I believe is genuinely not them because they have to chase a dollar rather than being,
Yeah,
genuine as
it's
far as that.
definitely the temptation, right? And you remember there's all this concern about like child actors, in
Mhm, mhm,
Hollywood and
mhm,
this so and so's on cocaine, like who's surprised? Childhood actor, right? And I just
mhm,
worry, and I'm sure these influencers have certain, is there, hey, we're going on a family camping trip. Oh, look at Johnny over there struggling to open up the marshmallows. Like there's some mental health is gonna kind of hit for some of these children of influencers who sort of grew up in this family where mom was always recording, and again, I'm sure they do some things and have boundaries, or at least I hope they do, but
mhm.
it's a tricky industry, and that where we've not been before. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look no further than like what you're talking about, Ruby Frankie. Jeez.
right. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that is just a tragic, horrible story about the kids feeling the impact of a mom being swept away in social
Yeah.
media fandom.
Right. And it makes me, I almost expected her to get to a place where it's like, you know what, I'm going to reassess life, maybe
Yeah.
step back for several decades and do something else. But, here she is. No judgment to her. I'm sure she's processed that and gotten help. At least I hope she has. So, yeah,
All judgment to her. Are you
that's
kidding me?
right.
I watched
I've got
that.
my own
I
problems,
I watched
Richie.
that documentary. My gosh. There the I also listened to a whole podcast about it. I think maybe we leave on this unless you have something that you would really
I
like.
got a little one here, but
Hit
I'll
me.
just make that
Maybe it's
quick.
the same one. You tell me.
I want to just highlight that BYU announced their fall 2024 devotional and forum schedule.
That's not what
And
I had.
okay.
Anyone of
Well,
particular note?
obviously President Shane Reese, the president of BYU, and his wife Wendy are doing the first devotional of the
Mhm.
semester, as they always do. And then Elder Stevenson will be the following week. But then they have some fascinating people who maybe aren't, from our faith tradition. Like I assume David French from New York Times, who's a best-selling author, is coming, and Dallas Jenkins, October 29th, creator, producer, and director of The Chosen. That's a series worth having a sleepover and binging. Um, but he'll be speaking as well. So yeah, I appreciate. I'm getting that age. I appreciate the BYU devotional and form a little bit more. So
Yeah. Dallas Jenkins, previous guest of the Cultural Hall. You'll be able to see that episode. Fascinating that when I interviewed him, it was before everything hit, and he's like, "Hey, if you want to have a conversation again, I'd love to be able to visit with you." And now
you
can't
can't reach them, right?
can't get the email opened.
We got to get you down. You haven't been on the set yet, have you?
To Goshen?
Goshen.
Nope. Oh
We,
my gosh. No, I have not.
I've been there. It's awesome. We should get you there. So
This is the thing that I was going to say. We leave it on. The church has now made a resource here in Salt Lake just this last week. It was the National Veterans Golden Age Games. It's athletic competitions for veterans 55 and older, which, by the way, I DJ'd several events for those veterans. Very, very fun.
nice.
Veterans from all over. I did the biking events. The church has come out and said, hey, you know what? We've got a support initiative that was organized by the church's Military Relations, Chaplain Services, and Prison Ministries Division, and it's for all veterans, not just United States veterans. It is um, identifying and sharing resources for things that veterans face. things like veteran peer support and recognition, family services and counseling resources, references for veterans benefits, employment resources, networking and recreational opportunities, missionary and service opportunities, military relations missionaries, and support for local church leadership. A stake calling can be a stake military relations specialist, and you can find more by going to the church's military chaplain services and prison ministries division at churchofjesuschrist.org, or send them an email, veteransupport@churchofjesuschrist.org.
Love
That's
it.
And that's all I got.
That's it.
So is this the end for you, or are you going to have Saints Who Sport in the third block?
We're not quite to that level yet, but we'll get there, Richie. We'll
Okay.
get there. I do want to just insert that both of us are going to be highlighting an interview focused on a new film coming out, faith-based film called Faith of Angels. Tickets are going on sale for this film, and so as people see that pop up, give it a try, and then you can listen to our respective interviews with people involved there, Garrett Batty and others, and it's a great film.
Did you interview others?
Yeah, I interviewed the Joshua, the boy who got lost in the mine. He is now in his 40s, and he's a stake president in Taylorsville. So yeah, we had him on Leading Saints, talked all things leadership, and it's part of his, his journey as a young boy getting lost in the mine. But it's now a film. So.
And people can request the film to be played in their community.
Yeah.
Why can't I think? Faith of Angels.
Faith of Angels, yeah.
Yeah, Faith of Angels. For some reason, I was struggling on the title. You can go to faith-of-angels.com and be able to do that. Garrett promised he was going to connect me with Josh. He has not yet done that. Okay. This is publicly calling him out. All right. So,
well, thanks, Richie. This is fun.
Thank you. You don't get to do the outro because it's not the end for me, and you're not doing. How do you end it on your?
Well, if I'd love people to come check out This Week in Mormons. We have a great host lineup, regardless of what Richie says, and
I think they're great.
They are great. They are great, and you can reach us at contact@thisweekinmormons, and listen to some unique perspectives on the news, and always come back here to the Cultural Hall and do the same.
Yep. We're going to take a break here on the Cultural Hall. Coming back in the third block, it is Saints Who Sport. Curtis, which is not your real name. God bless.
God bless.